How to improve sleep quality. So, for most of my life, I used to always wake up in the middle of the night, be overthinking everything. I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I keep waking up every night in the middle of the night. And the thing is, I would get enough sleep. I would sleep at a very early time, and sleep for a very long time, but I would wake up exhausted because the quality of my sleep was always very, very, very bad. Like you probably experienced this as well. Like, you always wake up in the middle of the night, you wake up stressed, and you're sweating, or you want to go to the toilet, and it just ruins your entire sleep. That all changed up until a few months ago, when I actually worked on the quality of my sleep, and now I'm happy to say that my sleep is probably perfect now. Honestly, like, my sleep is very, very, very good right now. Now, when I go to sleep, I sleep like a baby. I have like deep, long, restful sleep without waking up, without those interruptions, right? It's just a long, deep night the whole night, right? And I just feel amazing because of it. Now, the single fastest and greatest way to maximize the quality of your sleep, and this is the number one most important thing when it comes to sleep, anything involving sleep, is going to bed and waking up at the same time every single day. Consistency. In sleep, consistency is everything. Now, I'm telling you, bro, every single time I have had bad sleep, I kept waking up in the middle of the night, my sleep was very bad, I felt exhausted when I woke up. It was because I had inconsistent sleep. I didn't wake up and go to bed at the same time, if that makes sense. My sleep was always different. My sleep time was always different. Because my circadian rhythm, my internal biological clock in my brain, wasn't used to that. It wasn't used to, going to bed at this time, and then the next day going to bed at a very different time and waking up at a very different time. My internal clock was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're doing this inconsistent pattern, and I cannot rest, if that makes sense. That's actually how our biological clock works. And the same thing in the opposite side is, every single time I have had the best sleep of my life, it's because I had consistent sleep for days in a row, right? And the best sleep I have had in my life is when I go to sleep at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6:30 a.m. every single day. The key to sleep, like everything in life, the gym, relationships, meditating, journaling, mental health, everything in life, the key to sleep is consistency. Going to bed and waking up at the same exact time every single day. That way your circadian rhythm, your internal clock, is like, yes, now I can relax, now I can rest, because it's consistent. It's consistent. I know when to get sleepy, and I know when to energize myself, right? If that makes sense. The circadian rhythm works that way. When you have consistent sleep, when you go to bed and then you wake up at the same time every day, when you do it consistently, you will notice that actually when your bedtime comes closer, you start to feel very sleepy, because your circadian rhythm is like, oh yes, this is the time where most of the time where we sleep, so I'm gonna feel sleepy, if that makes sense. And at the same time with waking up, this is the time where we wake up, so your cortisol increases, you wake up, you're energized, and then you have a lot of energy, right? And I promise you, when I just focus on this, just focusing on going to bed and waking up at the same time, when I just focus on this, after like 3 or 4 days, I have the best sleep of my life. Like, the quality of my sleep is just amazing. It's perfect. Just because of this one thing, because of going to bed and waking up at the same time. Matthew Walker says this is the most important thing when it comes to sleep, and If you don't know who Matthew Walker is, he's the author of this book, Why We Sleep, which is where I learned everything I'm telling you. But he's like the goat of sleep, basically, and he says that this is the most important thing, and it is. It is. Consistency in sleep it will solve 90% of all your sleep problems. When you have consistent sleep, literally everything in your life improves. Everything, your relationships, your business, your fitness, your mental health, your emotional health, everything improves in your life because of just this one thing, because of consistent sleep. Now the way I do this is very, very simple, very, very easy. Is I have 2 alarms, morning alarm and a bedtime alarm. So basically on my phone I have like an alarm at like 10 p.m. which is the time I want to go to sleep, and I have another alarm at 6:30 a.m. which is the time I want to wake up. And it's so simple. Just when your alarm rings, when the 10 p.m. alarm rings, just dim the lights and go to sleep. And when the 6:30 a.m. alarm rings, I just wake up. And when I follow those 2 alarms every day for like 3 to 4 days, I just have amazing sleep quality. Like I sleep like a baby, honestly. So the first thing, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. Second thing is self-improvement habits. And I realized that like for most of my life, I always had like terrible sleep because all the habits I would do were just counterproductive. They were making my sleep just way, way, way worse, right? I would just, scroll on social media for hours, play tons of video games, even watch porn, doing all these bad habits which destroyed my sleep, getting all this blue light and being overstimulated. So of course, when it came time to go to sleep, I wouldn't be able to sleep, and the quality of my sleep was just terrible because I was doing all these bad habits. Like I want you to visualize something with me here. Like if we think like 200,000 years ago, or 300,000 years ago, when we were like Homo sapiens, right? In like the evolutionary time, what did we do? We got, right when you woke up, you got sunlight, and then me and you, we go hunt, get like a boar for our wives. We're moving, we're working our muscles. You have your spear, I have like my bow or something, right? And then we get the boar, and then we eat it, and then we talk to our family, we talk to our people, and then I don't know, like we swim in the river or something together, or something like that. Like people 200,000, 300,000 years ago were always moving, getting sunlight, getting out in nature. That's how we as Homo sapiens should live, and that's what makes the quality of our sleep amazing. Like just imagine if in that day where we went hunting, we socialized, we got sunlight, we were out in nature, we swam, we created things, that night we would have amazing sleep quality because we did all these things. And that's how we humans actually are supposed to live. Now there are 6 habits that literally, I'm not even exaggerating, 100x the quality of my sleep. And those 6 habits are morning sunlight. So right when you wake up, you get sunlight in your eyes for like 5, 10, 15 minutes. That really, really improved my sleep. Meditation, journaling, working out or yoga, having purposeful work, and then reading. Those 6 habits. And what these 6 habits do is basically there's a hormone in your body, it's called adenosine, and this hormone is the hormone that makes you feel sleepy, that makes you want to sleep. It's like the sleepy hormone, right? It's called adenosine. Now the thing is, the more you are awake and the more you do these habits, the higher your adenosine gets. The higher the adenosine gets, the more the adenosine gets produced in your body. And of course, the higher the adenosine, the more sleepy you feel, the more tired you feel, the more you just want to rest and relax, and of course that improves the quality of your sleep drastically, right? And the thing is, like, when I do all these habits and I wake up at like 6:30, so like I'm awake for like, I don't know, like 16 hours, and I'm meditating, I'm journaling, I'm working out, I'm doing my routine, right? When the end of the day comes, I just feel exhausted. I just want to sleep. And the quality of my sleep at that day, when I do everything in my routine, is just perfect. It's the best, honestly. All right. So going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, self-improvement habits. The third thing is having a sleep routine, and this is a big one. This is something I learned very recently, because like for all of my life, all I did, this is literally what I did, right? When it came time to go to sleep, all I would do is I would just switch the light off and then get in bed. And of course, I wouldn't be able to sleep. And if I did sleep, the quality of my sleep would be very bad, right? Because I didn't have a wind down routine. My body didn't have time to produce melatonin. Melatonin is like the hormone that tells your body that it's time to go to sleep. I didn't produce melatonin. I didn't wind down. My body didn't relax. My body is still stimulated, right? So basically, let me just explain this. Like, all you need to have perfect, like the best quality of sleep you ever have in your life is two things. You need to have very high adenosine, which is the hormone that makes you feel sleepy and tired and exhausted before bed, and very high melatonin, which is the hormone that tells your body it's time to go to sleep, basically. You need these two to be very high before going to bed. So adenosine, we've talked about it, it's just stay awake for as long as possible until your bedtime. So waking up early, right? Like I said, like when I wake up at 6:30 and go to bed at 10 p.m., I have like 16 hours of being awake. So my adenosine is incredibly high when I go to bed. And of course, self-improvement habits. So meditation, journaling, going to the gym, doing yoga, reading, doing all these things. They increase your adenosine and make you feel more tired and more sleepy and just want to rest. So adenosine, we've talked about it. Melatonin is maximized with a sleep routine. So this is how I do my sleep routine, just to give you like an example. So I know like my bedtime alarm rings at 10 p.m. I know. So at like 9:30, before it by like half an hour, I dim the lights completely. All the light I have is like this little like night light or night lamp. I don't know really what they call it, but I have this little light, this night light, and all my room is just dim and dark, right? And when I'm reading as well, so I'm reading next to this nightlight basically, and I just feel very tired because all my day I'm just doing these habits and working and reading, but my adenosine is very high, and I just feel myself getting more and more tired. The more I read, the more I read next to this nightlight until my bedtime alarm rings. It's 10 p.m. I get my clothes ready for the other day. I then brush my teeth, I pray, and then I put on this like eye mask. Those sleep masks, right? They're very cheap. You can get them anywhere. And I sleep with it. And my melatonin at that point is just incredibly high. My body knows it's time to sleep now. And I just sleep. I sleep like a baby at that point. That's just my sleep routine. Now, every sleep routine is very different, but there are two specific things that are essential to maximizing the quality of your sleep and maximizing melatonin as well. And I've said them like many, many times before, which is keeping your room cold and keeping the room dark. So let's just explain this. So let's start with making your room cold. Why make your room cold? Because it increases the melatonin in your body, telling your body that it's time to go to sleep. And evolutionarily, we have always slept best as humans, as Homo sapiens, when it was the coldest. So scientists, there are so many studies that have found out that when our temperature is low, when the temperature of our body is low, that's when we actually sleep best. Because evolutionarily, let's imagine like 200,000 years ago, we always slept at night when it was very cold. So our brain associated being cold with being sleepy. That's why, you know, when you're cold, when you're sitting in front of the AC, right, in like class or something, you feel very, very cold, but also very like sleepy, like you want to sleep, right? You know, that's why you feel when it's like very, very hot, like it's so hard to sleep. But when it's like cold, it's very easy to sleep. Like we actually sleep better in the winter than we do in the summer, right? That's a scientific thing. But yeah, it's because of our evolution. Evolutionarily, we have always slept when it was cold at night. Now, the way I do this personally is 30 minutes before my bedtime, I turn on the AC. And I make it at like 22 or even 20 sometimes if it's like really, really hot in the summer. If it's in the winter, I just open the windows as wide as possible and I just get under the covers, like best sleep ever, honestly, right? So that's the first thing, making the room cold. Second thing is making the room dark. And this is the same exact thing because it maximizes melatonin. These are the two things that maximize melatonin, cold and dark. Yeah, so making the room dark, it maximizes the melatonin and it tells just your body that it's time to go to sleep, it's time to rest, it's time to relax. The same exact thing, evolutionarily, we have always slept when it was pitch black. Now here's the thing, this is a very important thing. We have always slept when it was pitch black night, like no light, nothing other than like the moonlight and like the stars, no light ever, nothing. That's when we actually slept best. And that is what actually like Andrew Huberman and Matthew Walker and all these like very intelligent like sleep scientists say, that before going to bed, you need to make your environment as cold, as dark as possible, because that's how we actually sleep best. Like the think about like the LEDs and the light bulbs and like the phones and all this blue light and all these lights, all this artificial light. It's a very new invention. Like for all of history up until like, you know, Edison and Tesla, right, invented the light bulb. For all of history, people didn't have any artificial light. They didn't have any light, really. So they just slept in the pure dark, and that is actually when we sleep best. The thing is because today we have all this bright light, we have all this light everywhere, no one can sleep. No, the quality of our sleep is the worst it's ever been, because we have all this bright light, all these phones, all this you know, very artificial, you know, bright lights in our eyes, that actually, here's the fact, right? Convince your body that it's actually still the morning. The thing is, at night, right, very little light can trigger your circadian rhythm, can trigger your body to tell itself that it's the morning. But in the morning, you need tons of bright light to tell yourself that, hey, it's morning, you know, it's time to wake up. For the cortisol to increase. Cortisol is like the stress hormone, which makes you feel like energized, you know, ready to conquer your day. So yeah, light is a very important thing. But I know, like I said, like now we have like the worst quality of our sleep possible, but we can fix this, and you can have the best sleep of your life actually. And the solution is very simple, and this is how I do it personally. Like, this is, you know, like, everyone has their own way, but this is what worked best for me. Is, like I said, I wear a sleep mask, which makes it completely black, like pitch black. Like, I can't see anything because my eyes are just covered with the sleep mask. So I can't see anything, and that way, I promise you, when I bought this, it's so cheap actually. It just 10x my sleep. It made my sleep so much better. Because my body knows, hey, it's time to sleep. It's time to go to bed. Okay, so all you need to have the best quality sleep of your life is going to bed and waking up at the same time every single day, self-improvement habits, and a sleep routine. That's all you need. Now, a bonus tip, because you made it till the end of this video, and I'm so happy that you did, and I'm so proud of you for actually watching this entire video. Like, you're watching an unfiltered video about how to improve your sleep, which literally 90% of people never do, right? All these things, you know, consistent sleep, self-improvement habits, sleep routine, all these things, maximizing, you know, melatonin, adenosine, all these things can all be done through one thing: a routine, a self-improvement routine. So here's how this works. Like, a routine is just basically, you have a piece of paper and you write on it the time you do something and what you do. So for example, I want you to just visualize this. Imagine that you wake up tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. The first thing you do when you wake up, you get morning sunlight. And then, you know, you then go to your room, you meditate. And then you journal. And then you work on your business or your craft or your purpose or something that you love. And then, you know, you eat breakfast, and then you work out, and then, you know, I don't know, like, read for like 3 hours, for example. You know, your entire day is productive, and then the more you're just awake, the more tired you feel because you're doing all these habits, and the more you are awake, of course, your adenosine keeps increasing, making you feel more sleepy. And then comes the night. And before the night, you dim the lights. Before your bedtime, by like half an hour, you know, you dim the lights, you know, you turn the AC on, you get your clothes ready, you brush your teeth, your alarm rings, you put your sleep mask on, and then you go to bed. Now, all you did was you just followed your routine. You just did your normal day-to-day routine. But you had perfect sleep because you did every single thing that makes your sleep perfect. So that's just a bonus tip. Like, all these things can be done through a self-improvement routine. So that's how you can have like the best quality sleep of your life, basically. And as always, we're in this together, and we will make it.